Hi, my name is Tom Straffolino, and I'm a Senior Advisory Solution Consultant with ServiceNow. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about our robotic process automation, particularly our unattended and attended robots. And I'm going to give you an example where we use creator workflows to build a simple application that's used for onboarding. And this application is going to show you how you can move data from a spreadsheet into ServiceNow, but also from ServiceNow into a third-party website and back again. So let's take a look at the demo. I'm going to talk a little bit about the use case you're going to see. So imagine an as-is world where Tom's a process worker and he's responsible for onboarding staff, providing access to secure areas of a facility. So it's a company that's got some hazmat materials in that facility. So there's two things that have to happen, right? One, they've got to get onboarded and get security access, but two, they also have to validate that they've gotten the hazmat training that they need. And that's done by a third-party company called Hasco. So the operations team will generally send a spreadsheet over to Tom. Tom will get that spreadsheet usually 2 times a week, 3 times a week. It'll have anywhere from 25 to 50 names in it and their information. He's got to key that into the company's security application. And then he's got to take that information and submit it to Hasco. So the first thing he does, right, he's got to swivel chair all this data off the spreadsheet into an app. The second thing he has to do then is take that information out of the app and submit it over to the Hasco company. And then when Hasco gets that information, they do a lookup on the person, send him back a submission ID that verifies that they actually have the training. So he spends a lot of time going back and forth between two apps. If you guys have walked the floor or been out on call center or back office floors, right, you see these guys that are sitting there with 2 and 3 monitors, different screens up for different apps. They're moving data back and forth. These are the kinds of use cases where RPA comes into play, right? Once he gets that final submission code, he puts it back into the company application, saves the record, and then he's done. Imagine in an RPA world, though, normally this thing can take him anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes per each record. Now imagine instead, he never touches the spreadsheet because the spreadsheet gets dropped into a folder somewhere, and a robot, an unattended robot, one that nobody sees do what it does, picks that spreadsheet up every time it's there. It checks every hour. Once it sees it, it automatically then loads all those records into the application that the company has for managing security. Tom then gets an assignment from each one that says, hey, I need you to go to the Hasco site. Well, the Hasco site has this CAPTCHA on it, right? Which CAPTCHAs are designed to keep robots and automated tools out. So Tom uses an attended bot where he sits at his desk, embedded inside of the app if it's a ServiceNow app, or we can do it with other applications through a web tool, through a web widget. Tom clicks on this submit to web button, and then he steps back and the bot kicks off. At that moment, the bot logs onto the website. It presents him with a CAPTCHA screen that he answers the CAPTCHA on because that's where we need that user engaged. And then the bot goes, uploads all the material out of the ServiceNow request into the Hasco website, gets the submission ID, picks it up, copies it back, and saves it, and then he's done. All of that happens in under a minute. And I'll show you that in the demo now. But the goal here is to kind of say, hey, how do I help my customer optimize what they're doing? So what you see right now on my screen, that's the spreadsheet we were talking about that's going to get uploaded. You're not going to see anything when this happens because that's going to be done by an unattended bot. But let's talk a little bit about the tools that we provide. So a couple of things. We have Automation Center. Automation Center is our kind of robot management platform. It allows us to manage both our bots and competitor bots. So we have spokes that we can integrate with UiPath Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, that allow us to then get data for what those bots are doing. Think of this as kind of ITSM for robotics. What it's going to do is create CIs now in ServiceNow for all those bots. It's going to let them see what kind of utilization they're getting on them. Oftentimes, bots are deployed and they're underutilized. So scheduling and management's a big part of it. On the ServiceNow side with our bots, we use the RPA hub. So here you can see our RPA hub. When I go to home, I see reports on the different bots that I'm running. I can see what apps they're doing, what processes, and if they're successful or if there are problems. And again, we'll trigger alerts if there are problems, if bots breaks, because reality is bots do break, but oftentimes they break because something changed that shouldn't have changed. We make an adjustment accordingly. There's different processes, things like the badge bot process that, again, runs as part of this. Nobody sees it because it automatically will generate the badges. Then we've got our unattended bot. That's what we were just talking about, right? This is our bot that's going to upload our spreadsheet. So the first thing that I do is from this management platform, I can see all the activity. I'm going to publish this bot right now and get it started. And we can manage how, again, this happens. Once I do that, I had a couple of different capabilities visible to me. One of them is the calendar. So let's talk about that because that's a differentiator for us, right? We can look at the calendar for this robot. We can start to see how it's being utilized. So here I can see what's running for this robot every hour. And so I see right now that actually the unattended RPA here is scheduled to run. It was actually scheduled to run at 10:15. It may run, it may not. We're going to call it manually if it doesn't, but I'll show you how you see it. So this is an advantage for our customers because, again, they can see and they can utilize and block time for their attended bots to get the maximum usage out of the license. So let's come back over to my unattended bot. Here I can look at the process jobs that are running. So I can refresh this. So it doesn't look like he ran now. So I'm going to manually kick it off. So I'm going to just execute the unattended process here. And so when I do that, the system automatically tells me, hey, what bots do you have available to run this with? You can pick any ones it's assigned to. And so again, you can pool them. I'm going to start that process. And once I do that, if I refresh here, you're going to see now the automation package is downloading to the machine. So I've got a virtual desktop instance, a Windows machine, and that's where bots run, by the way. They do only run on Windows. So if a customer is Mac, they have to use remote desktop to use the bots. But right now, this is going to download the latest package and then start to execute. If I go over here to my app, this is that app I was talking about that we used to put stuff in. I can start to refresh, and you can see now I have 111 records. I have 122, 127. So what you're seeing right now is in a matter of minutes now, we're loading that 100 records into the app. And so I can monitor and manage all of that from here. I don't need to see it, but obviously I come back later and I can view it all. So I'm going to come back over to my app. I see there's a couple of questions down in the chat.
I got them, buddy.
Right on, JP. Thank you. So we're going to let this finish. So you see now in a matter of a minute's duration, that bot finished loading. If I come back over here and I refresh, I now have 200 records loaded in. Let's talk about what it looks like from the user perspective, right? That second part now. The unattended bot has already gone in and he's done his thing. So here's my 200 records. Now I'm Tom, I'm at my desktop. I've got these records assigned to me. I can go in, I can open one of these up and I can look. I got to get that Hasco submission ID done. Up in the right-hand corner here, I've got this submit to web. That's my embedded task automation that allows me to call the bot with just a click of the button. Once this happens, I can take my hands off the wheel and I can allow the bot to run. We also give you the ability to run the bot in a sub window. So imagine that I've got a bot that doesn't require my interaction, but I do need to only call it when I manually want to call it. We can run it in a window on the user's desktop, and it allows the user to continue working on whatever they are. Think of it like a sub window. So here you see I get presented with my CAPTCHA, and the bot's going to sit and it's going to wait for me until I answer this. So I'm going to do my math here because I've been practicing, and that's 70. And I'll say, okay. And then I'm going to let go of the controls. And at that point, the bot's going to kick in. He's going to fill in all the stuff. He's going to get the submission ID. He's going to scrape that off that screen, come back to ServiceNow and in the app here and save it. And so there it is right there, done. And so literally now, in a matter of 2 minutes, I've executed what would normally take a whole bunch of swivel chair, cut, paste, back and forth. Even if I did let's say I had permission to do a CSV upload, I'm still going to have to, for every one of these, go over to that customer website and execute the manual move. So I want to say thanks for watching our demo today. And if you have further questions, you can reach out to any Creator Workflows SC or your core SC, and they'll be glad to help you out.